What is up, guys? The Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1,
and we're back at it to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater.
Now, if you are new to this is a video series where we answer the questions that you left behind. If you guys want to give us a question, please comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those first. It's easier for us to filter through all the questions if they're labeled as questions.
That's a lot of questions right there.
Questions.
Mm-hmm.
And this one comes from...
I don't have it.
Uncertified Jack.
There you go.
He says, do Tau sound like ponies when walking? Because they have hooved feet.
Yeah. So...
Yes.
Yes, they do. Now, is that the only horse-like thing Tau have? I don't know. You gotta check under the belt, maybe. Mm-hmm.
So, what's funny about this is that how do they deal with stealth suits? How do they get do they put rubber on in their hooves so that you can't hear the?
Yeah, because even in the models, or at least the stealth suit models, they do have hooves on their. I don't know. Maybe they're like slightly levitating.
Just put like rubber, a bunch of rubber.
Mm-hmm. They got that Sonic the Hedgehog technology where they gotta go fast.
Next question.
Sean Winters, another one. Do the Tau have more battle suits than the Imperium has Space Marines? Hell no. Even though there's a few Space Marines, the Tau aren't this huge race. Or maybe.
Well, there's about 1,000 Space Marine chapters.
Right, and there's about what?
1,000. Yeah, 1,000 Space Marines. Mm-hmm. Well, some of them are scouts, but let's say 1,000, right? Because you have the Black Templars who have way more, and Space Wolves who have way more. But okay, so 1,000 times 1,000. No, what is that? Yeah, 1,000 chapters, 1,000 Space Marines. That's
100,000.
Yeah, 100,000.
No, it's not 1 million because you gotta carry over the 1.
Oh, right.
You carry the 1, add the 0, divide by 69. So. And Tau, they're one of the youngest races, or they are the youngest race that is playable. So they're not very profound, I guess. They're not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Their population isn't as large. Yeah. So that being said, their cast
prolific.
Ooh, I like that. So that being said, overall the Tau aren't very populous race. So then you gotta split that into just the Fire Warriors, and then you gotta split those Fire Warriors into veteran Fire Warriors, and then you gotta split those veteran Fire Warriors into battlesuit pilots. So that being said, there's probably a lot less battlesuits than there are Space Marines. But, you know, Space Marines are like the ground troops. So a more common would be, are there more Fire Warriors than there are Space Marines?
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Fong Lin 100. If you hate Matt Ward so much, why not send a petition to GW demanding he be either demoted or fired? Nobody says we hate Matt Ward. So the whole Matt Ward thing, or like the hate on Matt Ward, is just something that happens with the forums, and it just happens with the 40K culture online. And the reason for that is because Matt Ward is the reason why Grey Knights were broken. Yeah. The Blood Angels were broken.
I believe he wrote like some Blood Angel rules that were a little OP.
And the Necrons with their reanimation protocol. So I think people hate on him because he did that, but I don't hate Matt Ward. I don't specifically hate those rules either, because those rules, like, if it wasn't the Necron rule or the reanimation protocol, it would have been another rule that broke the game.
Yeah, even though it seems like everything he puts out is always power scaling higher and higher and higher, you got to think that he's not the only one just doing this. Obviously, it has to get approved and, you know, reread, reworked, and all that. So even though he's like one of the major guys doing it, it takes the whole, I guess the whole consensus of GW to go ahead and publish something like this.
Right, and when we say, like, when we throw, like, hate towards Matt Ward, it's just because he's the GW punching bag.
Right.
Like, we don't really think that he's a bad...
bad guy.
A bad guy or a bad rule maker.
And also, you got to think of it, too. GW is always progressing forward, whether the story does or not. So why intentionally make an army not good?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like if you want to put something out, you want to make it good. You want to. GW's a company. You want to make it good. You want to make it sellable so that people be like, oh, Grey Knights are overpowered. Let me throw some money on this so I can start winning. So.
Yes, yes. Next question.
This one is by Jordan McGee. How does Nurgle combat Tyranids, and how would the fight go?
So he throws out a plague that infects the Tyranids, disrupts the hive mind, and brings the Tyranids to his side, and then the rest of the Hive Fleet has to fight itself, basically.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like white blood cells attacking like cancer cells. Mm-hmm. That kind of concept.
The Nurgle will be the cancer cells.
Right.
Beer Cat. What is the minimum size army in points you'd recommend having to play the tabletop? I'm getting ready to start playing the tabletop game as the Silver Skulls.
Ooh.
Very easy to paint.
Yeah.
Space Marine chapter, and I'm curious how many models I should get. So, point value wise, we usually always play at about 1,250 points.
Right.
That's going to be thrown out of the window in like a month or two.
Yeah, because I think it drops on the 17th.
Yeah, so there's going to be whole new rules. The game is going to change, like, drastically.
Mm-hmm.
So, hold up.
Yeah, just wait a minute before you actually start buying things. Because you can't even just buy Space Marines and say, oh, you know, this is a safe buy. Because they're bringing out the Primarchs Marines. So.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
But if you're talking about points-wise, I say 1,000 points is good because it gives you a good diverse, model count. It's not just, a commander and 2 squads of troops. You can add tanks and stuff like that. So,
yep. Next question.
Roboot Gilliman. Oh, the man himself. Do you guys think that any major event involving the man emperor of mankind will happen anytime soon?
No. I think they're focusing so much on you. Sir Gilliman, that the emperor is just going to be where he's always been, mm-hmm. in the back of the lore.
Yeah. I do know they're making I don't know if it came out or not, but they're making a novel about the emperor, but that was back in 30K, so...
Purge says, considering this is Warhammer and virtually nothing is impossible, do you think it's possible for any of the Primarchs to make a return? Like you said, everything is possible. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at my boy, Ferrus Manus. Also, why isn't there more hype around him and his Legion? Because he got his head chopped off.
The dude's dead.
The dude's dead. He was cloned. The clone was a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And so they had to kill him. So they've tried to bring him back, and I mean I get where you're coming from because this chapter is awesome. The lore behind it is awesome. The look of the chapter is awesome.
Yeah, how they implant like cybernetic limbs and stuff. That's just badass.
You could ally Admech, which is awesome. But yeah, so is he gonna come back? Like you said, nothing is impossible, but
this is seeming a little harder to do than.
Yeah, and it'll kind of like be a slap in the face to the lore, I guess.
Yeah, I never really like when somebody dies and then they bring them back.
Right, it doesn't. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it kind of like, oh, so all the feelings I felt for you dying, kind of like, it's like a smack in the face.
Which is why when you guys asked the question, could a demon Primarch be forgiven, and then it looks like Magnus the Red might be forgiven. That makes me a little angry because it's like, well, like you're just twisting the lore now, and it's not even sacred anymore. It's like anything is possible.
It's true, anything is possible. Terrorblades. Will there be Primaris, Terminators, and Dreadknots? Yes. I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, depending on when you're watching this. Could be a year from now. They did drop a. They're not calling it a Primaris Dreadnought, but
I haven't seen. They show the model.
They showed the model.
I haven't seen it.
It's basically like the bulky Dreadnoughts, but with like longer legs, and he's got like it literally looks like a Tau gun on him.
I need to check it out.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
So it looks I don't know. It's I like it, but at the same time I don't. Just check it out. It's on the Warhammer 40,000 page.
I felt like that about the Skitarii, and now I love the Skitarii. So maybe you'll learn to love the new Dreadknots.
I mean, he does have a Tau gun on him. It looks like it, at least.
Theta 60, Theta 60. Has there ever been a member of a subgroup of Space Marines, such as a chaplain, tech marine, or librarian, being promoted to chapter master or captain of a company? If so, could you do a video on them and their position, their possible tension it might have caused? Yes. So the actual Iron Fathers.
There you go. Yeah.
Iron Fathers are tech priests, and they are the head of the Iron Hands chapter.
I think it's a council, isn't it?
It's a council, yep. And then also, there's been Dreadknots that have been chapter masters, which is crazy. Who was that?
Wasn't it the Sabers, something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
One of the Saber chapters had like a Dreadnought, a chapter master.
Yeah, if not, it was a purple chapter. But yeah, we have done videos on them. Just look through our Space Marine stuff. Next question.
Marvel Comics asked, does the Romper know humans have started worshipping him after the Golden Throne? And if all Oaks attacked Terror, would they possibly be able to beat our human capital?
So Rompers don't exist in the warp yet. Our faction is a little like behind. So no.
Yeah. And second question was, if all the Orcs attacked Terra, would they defeat humankind?
Hell yeah.
That's a lot of Orcs.
Because you got to remember, if you kill an Orc, 3 more take its place.
Like a Hydra.
Hell Hydra.
Speaking of which, where are the Alpha Marines at?
Alpha Marines?
Shh. I'll tell you about it later.
What?
This next one is by Beast in Brushes. You once used a song called Hasta Siempre Comandante in an outro not long ago.
Yeah.
Any special reason for that?
You know, saying goodbye to our Lord Commander. Marvel Comics. Oh, you already read that.
One I just read, yeah.
Ron Johnson. Question. Pregunta. What would each species in the 40K universe be doing on a Saturday night? A Sunday? So, Orcs on a Saturday night will be out brawling, getting into like knuckle fist fights. They're the drunk guy at the bar who's not even really drunk. He just wants to punch the bouncer because he looked at him funny. Eldar will be the stuck up, holding up the wall so the building don't fall type of guy. But really, he's just like people watching, and by people watching, I mean being judgmental. Like, look at that girl's heels. She can't walk in those. You know she's gonna get canker soles.
That guy's romper is way too tight on him.
Yeah.
Talk about moose knuckles.
And then
the Tau, they wouldn't even be going out. They're gonna stay home and just watch anime all day.
Yeah, building their little geodudes.
Geodudes. Clicking their. You mean bionicles?
Bionicles, that's what I meant.
Geodude's the same thing.
Yeah. Who else?
The Space Marines, what are they doing?
Space Marines are the cool guy at the bar who's just like, you look cool, but when you talk to him, it's like,
my name's Jeff.
Yeah. There's no substance there.
Yeah, it's all look.
Yep. And then you have the Sisters of Battle, who are fabulous. You have the Silent Sisterhood, who's just behind the Sisters of... No, the Battle Sisters. Shit.
Sisters of Battle.
Sisters of Battle.
It's like, you know you're not good enough for the Sisters of Battle, so you go for the Sisters of Silence to
Exactly. To get that quick in and out. Smash and grab.
There you
guys.
go, smash and grab.
The Tyranids, they're actually behind the bar.
They're the ones cooking.
Cooking, I don't know why.
I just imagine them with like a little chef hat.
And then the Necrons are the owners of the actual club.
Making that moolah.
Yep.
I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And then on Sunday, they all go to church. Next question comes from Joris Vander Kamen. right?
Yeah, I was reading this one. Go ahead.
Okay. Why is nobody talking about the Dark Eldar anymore? They have some awesome lore and amazing miniatures. Their army concept is great. Glass cannon. Maybe that's the reason it is too hard to get balanced, which is the thing I hate about 40k the most. Clearly no balancing between the armies, and even inside one army, you have money determine the effectiveness of units. That is true, and that's something that I guess I've never talked about. But yeah, like you have a fucking Centurion.
Yeah.
$80, right?
For 3 dudes.
For 3 dudes. That's less plastic than what a drop pod is.
And how much are drop pods? Like 30
bucks.
Yeah.
Or a Rhino. But anyways, where are the Dark Eldar? Just chilling.
You say Dark Eldar or Dark Angels?
No, you said Dark Eldar, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, Dark Eldar.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of something else.
So Dark Eldar are just chilling. Their lore is a little wishy-washy when it comes to like to kids.
Yeah, that's true. Because you can't really market that to kids.
No, they have slaves. I think what GW is gonna try to do though is like implement more like Eldar Xeno like connections, because they have that one serpent thing, right?
Yeah, and then the one other thing I wanted to say, the whole balancing stuff, because you said they are a glass cannon. Hopefully in 8th edition, because according to what they're saying, it's going to be a lot more balanced, a lot quicker. But I feel like if you try and balance it out, it's going to end up, everything's going to end up being like the same. Like, and I don't like that.
Right.
I don't know.
Those were the questions for this week. Thank you so much for sending those questions our way. If you want more questions answered, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those first.
That's right, guys. Don't forget to hit us up on all our social media sites. That is Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, keep on commenting. I've been the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
We're One Mind Syndicate. We're out of here.
I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins.